Welcome to episode 74, Geralin Thomas on Decluttering Your Closet. Geralin Thomas is the author of several books and an organizer extraordinaire. You may recognize her from her regular appearances on A&E's Hoarders. She was also featured on Time Makeover on the Fine Living Network and Lifetime for Women. Geralin has been a guest expert on the Today Show, the Nate Berkus Show, and CNN, and now she is sharing her wisdom with us. In this session, we'll discuss what to do before you pack up your winter clothes, how to know when to keep something and when to let it go post-pandemic, Geralin's secret weapons for keeping your wardrobe in top form, why measuring is so important, and Swedish Death Cleaning and your wardrobe. What does it have to do with it? But first, are you ready for the freedom to feel fabulous? Teal Box is a done-for-you style solution that offers curated looks sent directly to your doorstep. We start with a virtual style session where we get to know you and what your needs are. From there, our Style Finder stylists personally curate a lookbook of the latest arrivals from Style Finder Boutique. You purchase only what you want, and then it's delivered right to you. The styling fee is fully refundable with your purchase, making it like having your very own personal stylist without the stylist fee. Book your complimentary consultation at shopstylefinder.com and get ready to love what you wear. Welcome to Style by Mary Michelle, a podcast designed to empower you through personal style. I'm your host, Mary Michelle Nidifer, a master style coach, founder of Style Finder Boutique, and creator of the Style Finder ID system. I'm here to help you know what to wear, how to wear it, and how to get dressed in 7 minutes or less. Let's go. Geralin, I am so thrilled to have you back on the podcast.
Thank you. And you have no idea how thrilled I am to be here.
I know. We've been talking about doing this again for a while, and I'm so glad that we made it happen. And I was just commenting about all the colors that you're wearing today. You sent me your new headshot. I love, love, love that. What did you tell me? Your new favorite color is gingerbread?
Yeah, that's what I've named it. You know, everything, my joke is with my clients when I'm decluttering, I'm like, everything goes into a food group for me. It's, gingerbread, cognac, peanut butter, butterscotch, cafe au lait. So those are kind of my favorite colors to wear, but gingerbread is definitely one of them.
I love it. Yes, I love it. And I think, the thing is it ties in with your hair color. So, we're not going to talk about color today, but that's one of the best colors I tell clients to wear is, something that ties in with your hair color.
Right.
And if you're just listening to us, just imagine this beautiful gingerbread colored blouse and her gorgeous gingerbread colored hair, and your skin is just radiant and glowing.
Thank you so much. Will this be on YouTube? I've already had somebody ask me who knows I'm doing.
Yes, it will. Yes,
okay,
it will.
So come on over to YouTube and check out the gingerbread hair color.
Yes.
And the blouse. And you're wearing like this hot color, right? The cobalty blue. What is the name of that?
Yeah, well, I call it cobalt. And I tell my clients who have brown hair, actually, this is an incredible color for you as well. Because if you have brownish hair, it's going to be what I call your hair intensifier. Meaning it's opposite your hair on the color wheel. And so if you're speaking or you're on a Zoom call, I know my lighting is a little crazy today, but I've got the sun that comes in the blinds and it's not there for long, but
right.
Inevitably, of course, it's there when I'm on camera.
You look like a Renaissance painting where they do or not a Renaissance, impressionistic painting, right? Where they do the dapple sunlight.
Yes, very cool. And then I put this jacket on. I was trying to figure out, I wanted to wear something over the top because it's sleeveless, and I put the jacket on because it ties in with my hair. So I love that we're both wearing colors that tie into our hair.
Yes, absolutely. That's fun. And of course, it's always fun to I know you're more into this than I am, the spring, summer trends and fall, winter color trends and all that good stuff. So it's fun.
Yes.
But the other funny thing that I had so many people comment on the last time that I was a guest on your podcast is how you have a colorful wall background and I have a colorful wall background. So people got a kick out of that.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was interviewed on a podcast the other day and I had on pink and then I've got my pink background and it was kind of wild, but I did not mean to match, but I love your color and the wall color makes your eyes pop.
That was a happy accident. So thank you. Yeah. Blue eyes, but it's a completely different kind of blue in the background, but I love turquoise stuff. It's just fun.
Yes. Well, it's what I would call your eye enhancer.
Well, thank you. I love it. I get free tips just showing up to do a podcast. That's
absolutely awesome. So, and just to break it down on your headshot, you're wearing your hair enhancer and your eye enhancer, which are two of the best colors I tell clients to wear.
Oh, interesting. Great. Now we'll really have people checking out the photos.
Oh, so you mentioned spring trends and spring colors. Yes. And I actually have just finished putting together the finishing touches on my spring trends ebook, which is chock full of all these amazing colors and all these amazing trends. Okay. But as we dive into the spring trends, this is a great time to be cleaning out your closet, right?
Exactly. Yes. And I can't wait to get my hands on your spring trends ebook.
Yes.
And listen to the podcast because I know you always do some good goodies on there. This is when I and professional organizers all over shift into high gear. So before you put away those things, I like to give kind of a pep talk, a motivational talk for take care of what you have before storing it. And don't store it if you didn't love it and wear it and all that good stuff, or you don't think you'll be wearing it in the future. Sometimes, I mean, especially with the pandemic, right? We haven't been able to wear what we thought we would wear. We haven't really gone out as much, but now that things are kind of loosening up, we are out and about and all that good stuff. So let's do a little chit chat about caring for our goodies.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's unpack what you just said, because I think that brings up a lot of things, in terms of our wardrobes. And, so many of my clients told me during COVID, they would walk into their closet. And one client, especially, she said, I'd go in there and I would talk to my clothes because I missed them and I wasn't wearing them. But as in terms of, storing things, if we look at it and think, well, we haven't worn it in a year, is it time to get rid of it, with COVID and everything? Or what are your thoughts on hanging on to it?
Yeah, my thoughts are a little bit different on that. I'm not, and a lot of the clients I've worked with are not people who are big trend followers. I love reading about them. I love, so my nod to the spring trend is I've brought out lots of pearls, right? So I know they're big again. I love pearls. I love mother of pearl. I love anything shimmery. If Liberace would have had a daughter, I could be her.
I love it.
So I'm not out shopping, and the older I get, the less I want to acquire. And I find this is true with a lot of my clients. So I am not in the mindset to ditch something because you haven't worn it in a year. And I know a lot of people think that's the thing to do. I tend to advise people, if you put it on and take it off, put it on and take it off, put it on and take it off, and you still aren't wearing it, that's when it's time to ditch it, in my opinion, because instinctually something just isn't right. It doesn't feel good. It's scratchy. It's too bulky. It adds weight onto you, or it's too clingy. Then to me, then it's time to let it go.
Yeah. So basically you're saying it doesn't matter how long you've had it.
Right.
If it's not right, try it on and you'll know it.
Yes. I have kind of a series of questions that I go through with my clients, and I think maybe that would be helpful to your listeners. Want me to share?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So the thing about putting it on, taking it off 50 times, and then you put it in the closet and you find, 2 years have gone by and you've put this thing on 15 times and it's just not working. I think it's safe to donate it or give it to somebody or let it go. If you wouldn't want your best friend to wear it, like if she came to you and said, can I borrow that? And you might say, oh, that's not, it's got pills. It has a stain that I've been meaning to get out. The minute you put it on, you find yourself, fussing with it all the time, pulling like button-up blouses. If you're busty, you see women do this all the time, kind of keep pulling at it. To me, that's a sign, let it go. another thing is if you wouldn't buy it today, probably okay to let it go. If it's in there and it's serving a purpose, great. But if you look at something and say, I would never buy that color again or that fabric because I don't like wrinkly stuff and it's made of linen, well, it's probably okay to let it go.
Yes. Yeah, those are great questions. Thank you for sharing those.
Yes, of course.
Yes. I encourage clients to something similar with I have my 5 F's. And does it fit? Does it flatter? Does it feel good? Is it functional? And does it make you feel fabulous?
Oh, nice. I like that. Yeah. And functional is really big. Functional is one that I think people forget, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's so interesting. I think so many women that I've worked with over the years, maybe they've retired or they've changed careers and they have a closet filled with suits. Now they're not wearing their suits anymore, but somehow they think they should keep them in their closet.
Right. Yeah. And all those shoulds haunt people.
Right. Yeah. Don't shit all over yourself. So Geralin, as we go through our wardrobe, let's talk about what your best tips are for organizing. You mentioned taking good care of things as we pack it away so that when we pull it out next fall, it looks great.
Yes, absolutely. Because it's really nice to start a season fresh and squeaky clean and thinking everything. If I pull it out of my drawer, cabinet, whatever you're keeping it in, it's going to be ready to wear. And that's the goal. It also helps prevent the fabrics from deteriorating. So I have, as you know, a little thing that I call the Wardrobe Wisdom Workbook.
Yes.
And there's a page in there that has all my favorite tools. But if people want to come to YouTube, I'm going to show you what these tools are, some of them at least today.
We'd love to see.
So the number one thing, you probably use this in your business, I'm sure, with your clients, is a tape measure. I think it all begins, being factual, and numbers don't lie. And sometimes, more often than not, I think as women, we tend to notice the worst things about ourselves or things that don't necessarily need to be enhanced. But when we look at each other, these things are just not even on our radar. So take your measurements and take really detailed measurements. And again, details in the Wardrobe Wisdom Workbook, because everybody is proportioned differently. And until you know your numbers and figure out what your basic shape is, you're going to be decluttering and acquiring, I think, the wrong things. So, you have to realize maybe a boat neck is not your best neckline, or maybe belts are never going to be your friend again. So let them go. So that kind of stuff. Yes. All right. After tape measure, I like to think about the small tasks you can do while you're watching TV, or maybe while a load of laundry is tumbling. And one of my pet peeves is to go somewhere and you sit behind somebody, at a place of worship or at a mall or at a movie theater, and you see the tags in the back of their neck or on their scarves. I see people with, the tags hanging off. So I have a few tools that I think are really critical to keep in your closet. You don't have to have all of these. Any of them will do, but one is a scalpel. You can order these online. One of my clients told me this little tip. She dermaplanes her own face, which I would be scared to death to do, but she buys, so she gets a double use out of those. So mine has a pointy end, and just pick super teeny tiny little pointed scissors are really good at getting that little stitching out. I don't know. I don't sew at all, but I call this a stitch ripper. You have a
seam ripper.
Thank you.
Seam ripper.
Yeah. Yes. And this is a really slim little box cutter. So this will do the trick, but you have to be much more careful with this one. Excuse me, removing the tags. So start with something that small. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I'm such a big tag tucker. If I walk in Starbucks and somebody's in line, I don't care if I know them or not. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I would be like, hey, I'm sorry, but, we just can't have this. Yes. And people are like, oh my gosh, thank you. I had no idea. We just don't pay attention. I tell clients, always look at your rear view.
Yes. And here's a really odd thing that I've noticed more and more lately. Some of the stores, and if you have a really good friend, or if you can put a full length mirror, critical everybody, full length mirror at the end of a hallway and walk in your outfit to watch yourself walk. I think people are forgetting that, the long cardigans right now, some of these things that flap open, cardigans and jackets, have these tags sewn in that are the size of like a CVS receipt, right? So it's this long and it's so cut that out, right? Just trim it down because it just ruins your whole vibe.
I agree. I think, so many of the pieces that have come into the boutique lately, especially kimonos. Yes. I love kimonos, and we actually just got in a boatload, but they put the tags near the bottom, and you're right, they're massive. And so when it flaps open, which it inevitably will do, it does.
And that's part of the beauty of it, right? That's your whole essence, walking around with that flowy, ethereal, yummy look.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, get rid of those tags, but be super careful. And I think, especially with scarves.
Oh yeah.
I honestly don't know why people put tags in scarves, because it can be pretty hard to tie it without the tag showing.
And the so many scarves have really delicate fabric that you have to be extra careful. That's when I think something like this or the seam ripper comes in really handy. So yeah, I agree.
For sure.
All right, let's move on. We're going to store sweaters next, but we're going to look at our sweaters, collar to cuff to everything. So there's several ways to defuzz your sweater. And this is probably the number one question I get when helping people declutter their closets. So to defuzz your sweater, there's this little gizmo, battery operated, a sweater shaver. These can be found online, Amazon, the Container Store, anywhere. Sewing stores, so easy to use. And then you have to remember, this is key, to unscrew this little thing and shake the fuzz out, because really it's like a little blade in there. So
yeah, it's almost like a little mini vacuum.
Yes, exactly. This is my favorite sweater shaver, and it's called the Gleaner. And it's like, I think under $20, but it comes with this kind of like pumice stone. It comes with this thing to kind of take the lint off. It comes with 2 extra blades, so you can kind of have fun. Go gentle, people. Gentle is the key for this thing. It's powerful. And again, online, easy to find. Or a simple nail file. And there are different numbers of sandiness. So you want the most gentle, but you just simply sit and file your, brush it down. So again, put it on your lap. It's a great little thing to do while you're watching your guilty TV pleasure. So shave your sweater.
Yes, for sure. That's a great idea. All right. So what's next?
Let's talk about how to store belts, because people who are wearing belts. This little gizmo is one of my favorites. It twirls around. It's a little hanger with all of these hooks, and then inside are even more hooks. So I use this in men's closets a lot. You can hang ties, belts. I swim almost every day, so I hang my wet bathing suits in the shower on this, and pool cover-ups. I mean, obviously, it can be used for a variety of things, kids' ball caps, whatever. So that's one way to store your belts. This is how I store my belts. And if I had a nickel for every one of these sold, I probably could just retire. So can you see what this is?
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's just a little... kind of got some bumps and grooves. It looks like a hanger. All of these come off and on. And of course, I'm going to suggest we organize our belts by color. So, I have metallics. I don't wear a ton of black, but here's the black. Skinny belts, wide belts, neckties, whatever you have going on. But that's probably, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like a mini hanger with a wavy line at the bottom.
Yes.
And then these big O-rings.
Yes.
Now, do the rings come with the hanger?
Yes.
Okay.
So it makes it really easy to put things on and off. And if you travel, one of the nice things is you can just undo a ring and throw the whole ring in your suitcase and keep them organized when you get to the hotel. So that's
that's nice. Very cool.
Another common question is, how do I organize scarves? And I'm just showing you like my favorite ways. There's 50 ways to do this. But this is a pants hanger. And I use these. I like these because you can put one scarf. It's foam padded so they don't go anywhere. It moves both ways. And as you can see, I have really nice silk scarves, and you don't have to worry about folding them this way. I just, put them in half, no crease, and they're easy to air out. It's convenient. It saves lots of room in your closet. And the things that you punch your scarves through the hole are really nice. However, they wrinkle up your scarves, right? They wrinkle.
Yes, they do. In fact, I pulled one out recently and I was like, now I have to go steam it. And I don't really I don't have time to do that. So that's a great idea.
Nice. Right. And you can use this, of course, for kids' ball caps. If you're trying to organize a closet, you just slide them through by the little hook in the back. You can put your belts on here. This works for that. So, and of course, pants, that's what it's designed for.
Right. Interesting. That's a great idea. Yeah. So that would be a very good idea. What I recommend before you start sorting your belts and your scarves is to purge, because over the years, and I know you've seen this, so many belts and so many scarves that people are like, I don't even know where that came from. I don't wear it. It's just taking up space. So first of all, clear out anything that you're not using or wearing or you don't love.
Michelle, I think one of the questions people have is, how do you know when a belt is out of style?
Well, that is a good question. And I don't have an easy answer for that, but I guess my best answer for that, because belts, I will say belts come and go in style, but there are some people who will wear a belt, like a classic belt, regardless, because that's part of their look. It works for them. They want to wear a belt. I think it's less important to know whether a belt is in style or out of style. And it's more important to pay attention to the quality of the belt. If you've got a belt that doesn't work for you, one thing that I cannot stand are those, what I call the self belts. The belts that, like, when you get a dress, it comes with and it's almost always really cheap, not very attractive, doesn't really work. I don't really understand. And then those just end up in a pile in your closet somewhere. Get rid of that. Find a really nice belt that fits you, that flatters you, that is a little bit more, maybe more timeless in design, and you're going to have that for a while. As far as belts, I mean, sometimes belts can be really trendy. If it is super trendy, then, be mindful that it's probably not something you're going to have for more than a season or two. Right. But if it is more classic, it is something that, as long as it fits you, it flatters you, it's in good repair, then you can continue to wear it for a while.
And I would add, don't forget her other F, feels good. I mean, a lot of times you get to an age in life where the belt doesn't feel so good anymore.
Yes. One hack that I've been seeing a lot on TikTok, and I recently shot a video on it, and it's interesting because I had one of these belts at the back of my closet, and I couldn't figure out when or how to wear it. I don't know how I ended up with it, but it was a wide black elastic belt with no adornment. It just had some snaps. I'm like, okay. And I think I wore it once for a photo shoot when I flipped it around and didn't show the buttons. But what I've been seeing is when you put a wider belt on over your shirt.
Yes.
So you have on a skirt and a shirt, and you put the belt on over your shirt, and then you pull the shirt out. So you totally untuck it. And then what you do is you tuck the front up under the belt. Oh, it's a whole different way to wear a belt.
Right.
And so you might have some wide elastic belts that you think, well, I'm not using those right now. I haven't worn those in years. Well, hey, here's a way to sort of repurpose it. Doesn't really matter what they look like because you don't see the belt.
Great tip. And it kind of gives you an alternative to that French tuck, which a lot of women can't wear because they have tummies, right? It's not a great look if you have a tummy.
I disagree. I actually, in fact, we just shot a video yesterday on how to mask a muffin top. It doesn't work for everybody and it doesn't work for every blouse, but I think when it's done right.
I'm going to be watching your video then. Yeah, great. Okay, cool.
When it's done right, it can help to mask a muffin top, because I think when you have a blouse that just hangs, or a shirt that just hangs, a lot of times it grabs onto that extra skin, that muffin top, those love handles, and can just show what I like to call every lump, bump, and bulge.
Yeah.
But when you do the French tuck, what you do is you create some structure and then you create some ease.
Right.
And then the fabric just gracefully skims over the body, over the curves, and it doesn't draw attention to it. So in the right situation, it doesn't, like I said, there's no one size fits all.
Where did you post that video? I'm going to be, when we finish this call, I'm going to be ding.
Well, I do have, if you go to my TikTok account or our Instagram, either Style by Mary Michelle or Shop Style Finder, I have a couple on, top 5 ways to mask a muffin top.
Okay.
But we are working on coming out with a whole video course on all the elements to think about.
Okay.
So, but
how about links in the show notes on YouTube, Mary Michelle?
Yes, we will have all the links, all the products, all the things in the show notes. So
I'm excited about the muffin top. Okay, that's cool.
Well, I think, in our demographic, it just, it's just a fact of life.
And it just instantly updates you, because you're right. Having a blouse hanging out untucked isn't really flattering for anyone. So having a little update, it's kind of like when people cuff their jeans when they're wearing booties, right? It just instantly says you're paying attention and trying.
Right. And I think it's so funny. I think so many women think, I just look, one of the number one things I hear from women is they want to look polished and put together.
Yes.
And I think women just get dressed, they put on their jeans and their shirt and their booties and they just go. But what they don't realize is they're missing that last 10%. Which might be cuffing the jeans or doing the French tuck or finishing it off with the right jewelry like you did. It's the little things that create the big impact and that help you to feel more polished and put together.
Oh, absolutely. And, I don't mind sharing. I bought something from you guys over the holidays that has been just such a fun wear. Everybody loses their mind. It's, and I don't know if you call it a cape, what is that thing I bought?
The poncho.
The poncho thing. But I've worn it to weddings. I've worn it out to dinner. I've worn it just hanging out. And people lose their minds. And I'm thinking, this was not an expensive item. It was under $100. Mm-hmm. The pop of color is so fun and pretty. The faux fur, I wouldn't wear real fur. I mean, I have nothing against real fur, but my dog's in the background. I'm like, can't do that.
Right.
But it has been such a fun accessory to have. I've really enjoyed wearing it. And so it's little things like that, right? I see you guys on your accounts and I'm like, oh gosh, that is so fun. And it fun. You're twirling around in it.
Those were some of the most fun pieces that we had. But I think, when you have fun pieces like that you love, and it adds that element of just elegance and glamour or fun or creativity or whatever it is that's important to you, you're going to wear it more.
Absolutely. And you and I are both big believers in doesn't have to be black. So I wore this burgundy to every evening event that I went to. People really, they acted like I was showing up. I don't know in what, but it was like, wow, what a difference not wearing black makes, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think you definitely stand out more, but
yeah, that was fun.
All right.
So one other thing, I'll get back on track. Sorry to distract you. I asked one question and here we are rambling on, but okay. So as you're getting ready to put your sweaters, cardigans, the longer, kind of toppers, I recommend if they're knit to hang them over a hanger like so, rather than bunching them up. So just an ordinary hanger. You can use nice hangers if you have them, but this kind of a stretchy knit. You fold it in half lengthwise, and this is the underarm. And I just drape it over like this, and it keeps it nice and fresh. Send it to the cleaners or hand wash it. Oh, another tip for hand washing or you can machine wash if the directions indicate that, is throw your sweaters into one of those zippered mesh bags so that they don't stretch out and go crazy in the washer. Then pull them out and lay them on a towel to dry. Or down in the South, we can do this. put it on a lawn chair outside. It, the ventilation is great, not in the sun. It dries beautifully and nice and straight and flat. So anyway, hang your toppers.
Yes, I actually shot a video on how to hang sweaters.
Okay, gosh, I'm missing all your video. I've got to get more.
Well, it's on Instagram, it's on YouTube, but it's that simple hack, and it's just, it does make such a difference.
Okay, great.
Yay.
Let's see what else I have. Maybe one more. Do we have time for one more?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So scarf is my favorite accessory. And everybody is like, how do you keep your scarves on? How are you tying your scarf? I watch YouTube like a mad woman to learn how everybody ties their scarves. So I'll get inspired. But the thing is, they make it look easy. They've probably done it 1,200 times and they're pros at it. We're average women, probably not the pro. But this little doodad, this bobble, it's called a mini bobble. Can you see that?
It looks almost like a phone cord.
It looks like a phone cord or one of those hair things. It's super little, right? Okay, so you take your scarf, and I'm going to do this hopefully so people on YouTube, if they're looking, can watch this. And all right, so I'm putting my scarf on like so, and I am going to put this on my fingers like that. Open it up, and I'm going to do this nice and high so y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm just pulling the ends together, and again, practice makes perfect. This is not going to be perfect. It's just good enough for, and so something like that. And it holds in place all day long. And you can zhuzh this up, making it different shapes and all that stuff. But for like $3, this is a big bang for your buck.
I love it. That's a great hack. Now let's kind of shift gears a little bit. I know something that you have been talking a lot about and that's kind of a hot button topic right now, is Swedish death cleaning.
Absolutely hot. You know why it's so hot, right?
No, tell us why it's so hot.
They're shooting a TV show. Reese Witherspoon is going to produce a TV series on Swedish death cleaning.
I did not know that. Well, that'll be something to look for. Maybe they'll have you as a guest expert on.
I doubt it. I think they're shooting starting in Kansas is what I've read. They're auditioning. So anybody who wants a Swedish death cleaning, look for the application online. You can probably get yourself a free cleaning. That's awesome.
But why do you think Swedish death cleaning has become so popular, other than Reese Witherspoon?
Okay, yeah, Reese has a lot to do with that. And there's a book, Swedish Death Cleaning, that was popular a few years ago. It's a very slim little, you could read it probably in a day and a half, if you have no interruptions. It's a nice book, and it's written by a Swedish woman. And she's a little older, a mature woman, and she talks about how through her life, she's cleaned her parents after they passed away, sisters, relatives, blah, blah, blah. And she's just got extra time on her hands, and she's decided she does not want to burden anybody with this chore. And she wants to simplify her life and enjoy every single thing she owns, which is kind of what we're doing here, right? With your clothes. Enjoy the things that you own. And if you don't enjoy them, let them go. So I think that's one reason. Also, there's this big, push to go more minimal and let go of fast fashion in a lot of circles. So I think that has something to do with it as well. Plus, the biggest reason is, I think 2 years of the pandemic, we've been in lockdown. We have been staring at our homes and our possessions for 2 years. And I think we're ready to make changes.
Yes. So let's talk about, I always like to do a big, clean sweep and get rid of anything that's not working.
You're my kind of woman.
Yes, especially as the seasons change and I swap out wardrobes. But, what I've seen over the years and what I hear from women is that some women just take everything they're not wearing and they just go put it in the closet and they kind of leave it. And what I hear from clients is that now they've got 4 closets full of clothes. Or I remember, someone I'm close to years ago, she had 3 rooms full of clothes. And some of them had been handed down to her from her mother who had passed away. And it just became this burden.
It is.
And then it came time for her to move. And it was like, I have all these clothes that it just became overwhelming.
Yes.
And so with that in mind, Give us some of your best tips on, starting to think about putting this into play.
Well, so I kind of have 5 steps that I use when I'm working with people. And the initial phone call is identify what you're thinking and feeling. So tell me what it is. Like I think you may have used the word overwhelmed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I have too much stuff. This is taking up 4 rooms in my house and it's just me living here. Or it's not who I am. That was my corporate self. And this is my, 20 years later self. So identify what you're thinking and feeling. I want to hear the words that person is using because it's so psychological, as you know, right? Clothing is a representation of how we're thinking and feeling about ourselves. Number 2 is going to be measure, measure, measure. I'm going to insist we take your measurements, and you don't even have to share them with me. If you want to keep them on your phone or whatever, that's cool. But you have to know your measurements, especially if you shop online. You need to know your proportions. Is something too long, too big? It's so funny. I was just helping somebody and she's buying a French line of shirts. Mm-hmm. And the arms are all really tight. And I said, see, we could have taken your arm measurement because different brands have different sizes. Okay. Mm-hmm. So identify, measure. Let's also talk about what's needed versus what's missing. I need new bras or foundation garments, or maybe it's pajamas, something like that. What's missing is like this feeling of booties or cool shoes that are comfortable. I can't wear heels and platforms anymore. Somebody was just telling me. Mm-hmm. What's necessary? I'm going skiing and I live in Miami. I have nothing to wear, après ski. So right. Kind of like to your point a few minutes ago, what's functional?
Yes.
And then it's time to implement the change. So that's kind of those are my 5 steps.
Uh-huh.
Is that helpful, or is that confusing? Or
that's very helpful. I think just to have some things to keep in the back of our mind as we go through this. So, because I think, we just have a tendency to hold on. I know there's a lot of psychology behind that, but
yes,
a tendency to hold on to things.
Well, I think one of the things to ask yourself is, are you holding on to it because you're beating yourself up thinking you're feeling guilty? I paid so much money for these shoes, bags, whatever. It's just not working for me, but I paid a fortune for it. If I could just find the right person to let it go to, I would get rid of it. Yeah. Another thing is that was my mother's, my aunt's, my sister's. She's no longer with me. It feels like I'm getting rid of her. Mm. You're not getting rid of her. You're not even getting rid of the memory. You're just getting rid of the thing itself. Mm-hmm. That's a really tough one for people.
Yeah.
The joke is we don't normally have trouble getting rid of bridesmaids' dresses because they're hardly ever like our ideal thing. But I'll say this, if you're divorced and you're hanging on to an old wedding dress and, there's no reason to hang on to that, it's okay, let it go. And now there are organizations that'll take old wedding dresses and they make little snugglies for babies and things. So sometimes you have to just tell yourself, that would be a wonderful thing. I'd like this to go to a good cause. Uh-huh. Tooth fairy pillows or whatever you can come up with. But if that garment hanging in your closet does not make you feel great and you're looking at it for the last 10 years, oh my gosh, and there's no written rule that says we have to hang on to wedding dresses. Why do we do that?
Yeah. I mean, I still have my first, I am divorced and I do still have my first wedding dress, but the only reason I kept it is because I made it.
Okay. All right.
And I think it was more, not.
Here we go with the excuses. People, listen closely.
Because I designed and made it. And I just thought, I don't even know why I kept it. I just felt like, I made it. And so it's more about me than it was about the marriage.
Yeah.
But for my second marriage, I still have it. In fact, it's still at my mom's house. She's storing it for me.
Oh, but another good topic when we store off location. Yeah.
But we've got 3 girls and, 2 are my stepdaughters. Is there a chance they might want to wear it one day? I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's probably a better chance they would wear their mothers, but I don't know. So is there like a time frame that you recommend that people keep things like that before they let them go? Or
well, again, I think identify what you're thinking and what you're feeling about that. So one of the things that you said is I'm hanging on to it just in case somebody else might need it or want it. Now, I know in my own business, it's very rare that somebody else wants something, whether it's brown furniture or an old wedding dress or a suit, unless it's top-notch, like almost couture level, right? Once in a while, you'll have somebody that says, I have worked with people in Raleigh that have really cool clothes, vintage clothes. And, they have them taken care of and preserved nicely, but that's such an exception. I mean, if you're talking Chico's or Anthropologie or Talbot's or Gap or wherever you like to shop, those things are not necessarily ever going to get better and better and appreciate in value.
Right. So you don't think our Style Finder liquid leather jackets will appreciate it?
Probably not.
Probably not. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, that's a valid point. And I have a friend, I remember she reached out to me a few years ago. She had gotten remarried and her husband had inherited all these clothes that were, some of them were vintage and they were really cool. And she felt like, they might be worth something, but he had inherited those from when his mother passed. Okay. But she's like, okay, now I have to deal with all this.
Right.
His kids didn't want it. What do we do with it?
Yes. And not necessarily with clothes, but this is something, again, professional organizers all over the place talk about is we hang on to things, general public, thinking we're saving it. We're saving these old Christmas ornaments that our kids made in kindergarten. Well, our kids grow up and they don't want it, and neither do their spouses. So you've hung on to that for 40 years, taking up space, and it's not in great shape. And it's just going to end up in the, dumpster anyway, or recycling bin. So think real carefully. And I do suggest picking up a copy of the Swedish Death Cleaning book. I found it very motivating and full of practical tips. I mean, the libraries have it. It's a good read and it's a short read.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one. Well, this has been so enlightening. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, let's see. I think leave comments and questions in the YouTube section, because I'd be happy to come in and help answer if people are interested in that.
Yes.
The last time we did this, I had several emails from people that wanted to know a little bit more about the products. I don't sell products. I don't make, there's no affiliate links. So just Google online, Amazon, Container Store, Lowe's. So other than that, if people have questions, leave them, or they can find me at my website, which is metropolitanorganizing.com. And that is also where the Wardrobe Wisdom Workbook is. And that is $9.99, and I do make money on that.
Yes. Go grab Geralin's ebook, because we all need a little more wardrobe wisdom.
Well, thank you, Michelle.
For sure. Well, Geralin, thank you so much for being here today. It really has been a lot of fun to talk to you again.
I love it. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks for tuning in to Style by Mary Michelle, where women come to get dressed in 7 minutes or less. If you enjoyed this podcast, I invite you to leave me a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you're listening. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Style by Mary Michelle, and shop our boutique at shopstylefinder.com for the best in upscale casual apparel. Better yet, if you're in the Raleigh area, come see us. We're located in the North Hills Shopping Center, the premier shopping district in Midtown Raleigh. For details and links mentioned in this episode, be sure to see the show notes. Have a beautiful week.